In every town and village in Britain, there are hidden gems of historic architecture.
Oh my word. What a space. It's fantastic.
Thankfully, some romantics take on the challenge of restoring these unique buildings and turning them into family homes.
I think I bought it with an element of love and desire and a tinge of madness.
What we're doing is actually giving it another, hopefully, 500 years of life.
Churches, barns, and industrial buildings tell us many fascinating stories about our past.
Crikey. Is any stately home or medieval castle?
It isn't for the faint-hearted.
I'm shocked by how deep you have to go and how expensive it is. But the rewards can be a home like no other.
It's so proud of them. To see it and live it, it's just inspiring. Yeah, can't talk about it.
As an architect, I relish the challenge that these unusual buildings give us when we're trying to create a place called home.
This time, the ambitious transformation of not one, but 2 church buildings.
That's huge!
By a man with the passion to see the job through.
I think you've got to fall in love first and then think about the consequences afterwards.
There's no compromise on spiralling costs,
Just listen to me, please.
as he goes all out to realise his very eccentric vision.
Look at that big bad boy there.
It's mad. Yeah, just a bit.
How do you fancy living in a church?
Beautiful.
Harrogate in North Yorkshire, a grand old Victorian spa town on the edge of the Dales. A short walk from the centre of town, rising majestically above the terraced streets, is Grove Road Methodist Chapel, with its adjoining Sunday school. Bought in 2013 by Mark Hinchcliffe and Laura Rushton for £245,000.
Mark came home one day and one of his cracking ideas, had he fancy living in a church?
The council had already refused a developer's application to turn the buildings into 16 flats. But Mark and Laura were convinced they could convert both chapel and Sunday school without losing their integrity.
Got a bit of the support from the community and neighbours and people, so I think that's helped us as well.
Yeah, I think it has.
Get planning permission.
The chapel was built in 1896 and the Sunday school was added in 1929. The couple planned to renovate the school in just 6 months, then sell it on, using the proceeds to fund the long-term restoration of the chapel, which will become their family home.
Hopefully there won't be any hidden horrors that we find once we start taking down ceilings.
Oh, you're bound to find a hidden horror. That's part of the course, isn't it?
Mark, a local businessman who works in building and design, has given up his other projects to manage the build full-time. The couple have worked their way up the property ladder by renovating and selling on their homes, giving them a mortgage-free budget of £200,000 to restore the Sunday school.
The plan is to be here long term, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is the kind of
It's a resting place.
the biggest thing that we've ever done. I hope it will be brilliant.
It's an extremely bold scheme, and I'll be here to guide this brave pair as they embark on their restoration master plan.
Morning. How are you?
Good morning, George. How
What
you
a
doing?
fantastic building you've got your hands on. I can't believe how lucky you are. So you've got a chapel this side
Yeah.
and Sunday school that
Yeah.
side.
Yeah.
Incredibly ornate and decorative. There's little carvings
Yeah.
over the archways. You've got lovely decoration on all the windows. Really beautiful. The stained glass is fantastic, actually. Very, very grand.
It's got a sort of Italianate listed front to it. I mean, it's, the architectural features on it are just unbelievable.
Quite grand buildings, aren't they? Kind of really strong Harrogate buildings.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I am actually genuinely jealous.
When they said they were going to sell the building, I actually came with my daughter, Maya, who was only 9 at the time. We actually came to one of the last services. I'm not religious at all, and I didn't think at that time that I'd own this. I mean, it's kind of surreal.
It's a shame, really, that the numbers have dwindled so much to the point where the building becomes redundant. But I suppose it's great, on the other hand, that you've had first-hand experience of sitting in there.
Mark and Laura's property is made up of the Sunday school, which covers 3,500 square feet. and the 6,500 square foot chapel. Both are Grade 2 listed. The main part of the chapel has a 60-foot high ceiling and a balcony with tiered pews running around the first floor. At the back, there are several small rooms that were used for storage. On the ground floor, a door leads through to the Sunday School, a large double-height space that was once divided into 2 massive rooms. They plan to tackle the restoration in 2 phases, starting with the Sunday School, and for the duration of the build, Laura, who works full-time in sales, and project manager Mark will be living in a rented flat.
Oh my God. I shouldn't say my God in a church, but that is an amazing space, isn't it? That's huge. How big is it in terms of square foot?
3,500 square foot. When we put the mezzanine floor back in, it's an unbelievable space.
And actually, I mean, even though it's 3,500 square foot, it feels bigger.
Yeah, it
because you've
does.
just got so much volume, haven't you, in the space?
Yeah, it's the height,
Yeah.
isn't it?
And this is just the Sunday School.
This is the Sunday School. Yeah, we started here on Monday. I mean...
You just started?
Yeah, we started
Literally
Monday.
just started?
4
Monday.
days ago.
So what's the idea with this then? What are you going to do? What's the grand plan?
The grand plan, because it's so large, the place, is to actually separate this off. We're going to develop this into 4-bedroomed schoolhouse.
Mark and Laura intend to transform the Grade 2 listed Sunday School into a 2-storey, 4-bedroom home. On the ground floor, an open-plan double-height living room will make full use of the 3 elegant windows at the front. Alongside, there'll be a spacious dining area, with a library study next door and a large kitchen and bedroom to the rear. A mezzanine floor overlooking the living room will give scope to create 3 more bedrooms upstairs.
And then we're putting 2 glass lights coming down the front of that, so we're getting glass. We're getting light, and again, naturally from the front into the bedrooms.
The couple are hoping to sell on the Sunday School when the restoration is finished, raising the £300,000 they need to turn the main church next door into a family home for themselves and their daughters.
So in effect, this is what they call enabling development, isn't it? You're going to do this up, 4-bedroom house, sell it on, make it into a lovely home, sell it on, release some money, and then put that into the main asset of next door, your home.
Yeah.
A narrow corridor links the Sunday School to the chapel.
See, this is just what you imagine for little spaces like this, isn't it? The little corridors, the utilitarian stuff, the narrow, dingy little spaces. And then you've got this. Oh, look at that! What a beautiful space, isn't it? That is breathtaking, that. I love the way that these spaces are designed. And that beautiful curve which these churches are so known for. But there's no hiding, was there?
Yeah, you could see the whites of everybody's eyes.
Absolutely.
Quite literally from the pulpit. We really like it anyway. I mean, there are a lot of people that wouldn't really like a pulpit in the lounge, so to speak. But for us, we really like all the timber work. I mean, it's just incredible.
The potential of this building is almost overwhelming, and I can't wait to see what their plans are. Their dream for this enormous space is to create a grand living area, making use of the 60-foot high ceiling. The major transformation will be on the first floor, where 2/3 of the area will be turned into a new mezzanine for the bedrooms and en-suites, leaving a triple-height ceiling over the pulpit, and a dining room where the organ used to be. But like so many old churches, parts of the building are in a sorry state of repair.
You've got a little bit of damage, to say the least.
And on the balcony, there's an earlier attempt at insulating the building with a false wall and ceiling.
This is a shocker.
We're keeping that.
You better not be. The things we did in the 60s and 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
It really is like looking at a different building in some ways, because when you're down there, you can see all this lovely craftsmanship and all the beautiful timber work and all the nice decoration, and then you look up, and it's like being in a different building.
It is, yeah.
It's awful, isn't it?
And what's even more tragic is the insulating screens are blocking the view to the church's crowning glory. 8 original stained glass windows.
The windows are just incredible. I mean, the workmanship in the stained glass.
When all of that's pulled down, the light that's going to come through those windows into your house,
Great, wasn't it?
breathtaking.
Thankfully, this building is Grade 2 listed, so the stained glass windows and other original features have to stay. All part of the charm for Mark and Laura.
It's wonderful, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a
it
great
is.
piece of history to have.
Yeah, but that means even more so you're still just a custodian of it, really. That's a big responsibility. You know, there's no doubt that this is one of the biggest church restoration projects I've ever come across. A massive challenge for Mark and Laura. But the success or failure of this all depends on the conversion of the Sunday school next door. Now that is not a small project. I just hope they realise what a massive challenge they've taken on.
In Harrogate, work is progressing on the conversion of Mark and Laura's Methodist Sunday School into a 4-bedroom contemporary hall.
Whoa!
Mark has plunged straight into the role of project manager, giving up all of the commitments to supervise the work on site.
The steels themselves just weigh just shy of a ton on each one. You certainly won't want to get your hand trapped under there.
For the time being, all of the budget is going into the restoration of the Sunday school, and Mark has a very clear idea of how he wants the building to look.
I think what's nice about the Sunday school is that you've got this mezzanine floor we're creating with these bedrooms upstairs, and it's going to be very slick contemporary. Very, you know, a lot of white walls, a lot of light coming in, and then whereas this is going to have a little bit of a twist on it, the chapel's going to have a bit more of a bit of baroque, a bit of contemporary, and a bit of everything really different to what this kind of angle is.
The pews are being removed, giving Mark and Laura scope to replan the interior. I want to find out more about the history of these two very elegant buildings. The Sunday school was built 33 years after the chapel, for religious teaching and as a community youth club for Methodist families. Although it's smaller, it's no less ornate than the chapel. To discover the origins of this decorative style, I'm heading to the outskirts of Harrogate to meet author and historian Richard Taylor. We've come to another Methodist church, Bar Chapel, built in 1889.
I always have in my head that Methodist churches are very, very simple, but this one is super simple, isn't it?
It is. It's lovely, isn't it? It's here out on the edge of town, and the congregation originally used to meet under a tree.
Did they really?
Preach to the people as they went past. And over time the congregation grew and they needed a space, so they built this. But it was a congregation of farmers and labourers. They didn't have that much money, and this building reflects that.
The Methodist movement was started in the mid-18th century by a group of evangelical Christians who were so keen to avoid any kind of ostentation that their early buildings weren't called churches at all, but simply preaching houses.
Inside, the simplicity continues, really. I mean, there's hardly any decoration or ornamentation at all in this building, isn't there?
And do you know what? There would have been even less decoration back then.
It's actually a really elegant space, though. I quite like it. But if you took out the pews and you took out that pulpit, it would actually feel like it was just like, I don't know, a community hall or an old school building, wouldn't it? That's how simple the architecture is.
Methodism was about simplicity. It was about the method of faith.
It's easy to see how the congregation here wanted a simple church that reflected their beliefs. But that doesn't explain how our church and other Methodist buildings ended up with such a decorative style. So Richard has taken me to see another church in a completely different part of town.
I really didn't expect this at all. To me, it looks nothing like a Methodist church.
No, it's pure Gothic. And you could be talking about an Anglican church, a Roman Catholic church. I mean, you've got the pointed arches, you've got the stained glass, you've got all of the fripperies and the flannery, which are simple Methodist chapels are meant to be leaving behind them. And here it is in another Methodist church.
Why was there such a big change in the style in this location?
Look at where we are. So before we were out on the edge of town in poor farmland. Now we're in the middle of Harrogate. Look at these houses, these grand mansions. There's a whole lot more money around to build a church like this.
Inside this Gothic-style church, it's as decorative as the outside.
It's like a baronial medieval banqueting hall, that, isn't it? Or a royal chamber.
But what about our chapel? It was built in the Italianate Palladian style that became fashionable for so many town halls and civic buildings at the end of the 19th century. Tellingly, our building application form makes clear the importance of the style and who the target congregation would be.
I mean, the questions actually are as revealing as the answers. I think it's hilarious that you're kind of box ticking all of these questions. So what is the number of members in the society? 58. But the bit that I love is right down here, is number 10, is it in the midst of a poor or middle class population? And the answer, both.
A new chapel needed to appeal to this broad mix of people living in the area. It had to be both impressive and inviting.
And then on the next page of it, which I love this. As an architect, I think this is brilliant. What style of architecture is proposed?
Italian.
It's just brilliant, isn't it?
Bottom line, a lot of this is about sales. Everybody's fighting in that later Victorian period to get people through the door.
The decorative Italian look of our chapel and Sunday school was a calculated piece of marketing. Fashionable enough to tempt the aspirant middle classes, yet accessible to the working class who didn't want anything too authoritarian. Back on site, Marks discovered the foundations at the rear of the Sunday school aren't sufficient for the new conversion.
We're on the back entrance of the schoolhouse here. This is where the double doors are. This is the back access we're on now into the cellar utility room itself.
It's a huge job to underpin the building. Weeks of digging at an extra cost of over £10,000. Upstairs in the main space, Mark's builders are making headway, and he seems to be relishing his role as project manager.
We've got a great workforce. We've got some really good lads on site. You know, everybody's really passionate about it. There's the open sky. Every little thing needs orchestrating, and you need somebody to kind of conduct the whole thing and bring it all together in a nice momentum without any chaos. So I think that's probably my job. And you can see now, you know, when you think 4 weeks, it's just incredible what we've done.
It's great to see the mezzanine and timber frame in place, but one of the challenges of dividing up a space like the Sunday school is how to bring light into the darker rooms at the back of the building.
Originally on this, can you see that small timber section coming across there where that little window was? And then obviously there's a large window above it, so what we're doing now is we're going to cut the trusses out later on so we get the amount of square light coming straight down as it's plastered in when it comes back in as a skylight. But this is the one that we've done electric one because it's obviously quite high up to open as well. But it'll be great because you'll get all that beautiful light coming straight naturally into the kitchen.
It's early days, but so far Mark and Laura's vision for this space seems to be coming together.
I could live in here. I could, honestly. It's different to next door, but it's got a lovely feel to it in here.
Over in the chapel, investigations to the roof have uncovered a problem.
My God, look at this. So we've just had that water coming in initially. Yeah. I would say that's developed in the last 6 weeks, 7 weeks.
There's a nasty leak on the southwest side. A closer look reveals that this isn't the first time it's happened.
People have tried to fix it before using, budget methods. It hasn't worked, so we're going to do it properly. At a rather expensive pace with, good lead. Most people, they want it done like yesterday. Mark just wants it done properly.
You're back onto nearly £1,000 again for something. But it's what you expect, If it all ran smooth, it'd be too easy, wouldn't it?
It's been a couple of months since my last visit. With so much riding on the restoration of the Sunday school, I'm keen to see how Mark and Laura are getting on.
Hello, mate. Now then, how you doing? All right. Long time no see. Pushing me...
You're just pushing stuff around.
my jet trolley around, absolutely.
This looks incredible, mate. It's moved on at an amazing pace, hasn't it? Beautiful. God, you're flying on. Absolutely flying.
We've got everything. We're all ready to rock and roll now.
Shall I have a look at the rest?
Yeah.
What's in here?
This is the open plan dining room now.
Dining room there,
Yeah.
and then kitchen here.
And then the kitchen. I'm really excited about the kitchen as well.
And that. Look at that skylight. That's amazing, that. That's fantastic, isn't it?
It's like some huge star.
Mark's skylight is framed by a cleverly sculpted ceiling, directing light into the kitchen. With practically all the money going on the Sunday school, work on the main chapel is limited to stripping out the old fixtures and fittings.
Well, we've done a bit of work. You can see all the pews have gone out of the building.
You've got an army on board,
Yeah.
and you've got all that ceiling down. What a massive difference it makes. It really, really does. I'll tell you what, when all that comes down at the back there and reveals those windows,
It's going to look stunning, yeah. It's going to look absolutely fantastic.
The 1960s ceiling may be on its way out, but Mark has saved me the honour of demolishing the equally ugly false wall that's been blocking out light from the church's main feature, the magnificent stained glass windows.
That's a nice view.
George, you got the job.
Light. Lots of it.
Fantastic, yeah.
This is for the first time, what, 40 years?
Yeah.
40 odd years since all that rubbish was put up.
Yeah, amazing.
They're beautiful, aren't they?
It's incredible, yeah,
It's
absolutely.
really nice. Now, from what I've seen so far, Mark is a natural project manager. He's brilliant at managing a big team, and he's got such a passion for this building. In some ways, the church is lucky to have him at the helm.
But Mark and Laura have taken on not one, but 2 Grade 2 listed buildings. And key to the success of the whole project is whether they can transform the Sunday school into a beautiful contemporary home. In Harrogate, the Sunday school conversion is progressing well. Mark, Laura and their team of builders have carried out some serious structural work to the foundations, and I'm back to see how this tricky restoration is shaping up.
Everything coming down here to the left and to the right, we had to underpin the whole thing. Basically, you were in a Yorkshire coal mine, because that was what it was like down. 3 guys were down here, and then it still took 3 lads, 3.5 weeks of digging through here.
So how much do you think all of this has cost you extra?
I'd say it's cost us about another 12,000. That's us doing it. If we had to quote, we actually rang somebody up about it. They said, 25,000.
Despite the setbacks, the mezzanine floor supported by the massive steel beams is up, and I'm now starting to get a feel for how the bedrooms will work within the double height space.
This is the main bedroom with the ensuite.
How's the bed? That's a great space, isn't it? And then you can look right down at the living space, can't you, from here? Which is great.
It looks fantastic.
It's hard to believe it's just 3 months since this build began. They've made incredible progress on the Sunday school. But in my experience, working at this kind of speed always comes at a cost.
How's the money going? Or should I not ask?
What money?
Oh, it is going.
yeah, it's going, yeah. It was full. I'm going out of the begging box.
Is it bad?
Yeah, probably about 25,000, 30,000 adrift at the moment.
Really?
Yeah. Everything's specialised. When you talk specialised, you talk high prices.
Summer 2014, and a very special event has come to town. The Tour de France. Having spent more on the build than he budgeted for, Mark, who seems to be able to turn his hand to almost anything, is raising some much needed cash by organising a hospitality event in one of the local hotels.
We came up here and we booked the whole floor, but the only balconies overlooking, as you can see now, the actual finish of the race. It's the Tour de France in Yorkshire, in Harrogate. Look at that.
But while Mark is making every effort to raise money for the restoration, back on site, he's got more to worry about. The stained glass windows are being assessed by master craftsman Phil Wilson, and it's not good news.
So you can see here that it's bellied in 2 directions, and it's this unsightliness about it is the reason why we're taking it out to restore it. It would happen over successive winters with a strong wind blowing on it. Traffic noise, a lot of traffic noise can cause it.
Mark could have taken a cheaper route, but he's opted to have the windows removed and restored off-site, costing another £12,000.
I don't think anybody who ever does anything like this kind of project and scale, if you actually walk around with a pad and pen first to actually do the costings on it, you'd never get it done, would you? You'd never do it. I think you've got to fall in love first and then think about the consequences afterwards, which is, not from a bank manager's point of view, very good. But, it's about the passion for it, isn't it?
I've always been fascinated by stained glass. I even wrote my architectural thesis on the subject. So I've come to Phil's workshop, 19 miles away in Bradford, to help restore our beautiful windows.
You're looking at there. So you're going to put me to work today, yeah?
Yeah, you'll have to put this on.
Fantastic. Oh, look at that. I feel like a shopkeeper.
The making of stained glass windows has hardly changed since the 12th century. so Phil will be using the same techniques on our church windows as his medieval counterparts 900 years ago.
It's like a jigsaw, isn't it, really? So do you have to strip most of it back, or can you just do it in little sections?
That's a good question. With these, I will be replacing all the lead.
Really? But will you keep the pieces of glass?
Oh, absolutely.
All of them? Apart from the old broken one, obviously, which you've got to replace.
Any that are broken, we'll find a best match for.
Phil's first job for me is to trace the original panel as a record of its layout. Next is a job that requires a delicate hand, to remove the pieces of glass one by one without breaking them.
How old's this window again? 1896 or something.
Yeah.
So it's 118 years old.
There you go.
So you're literally just putting the lead and taking out each individual bit and then just slotting it in and rebuilding the jigsaw bit by bit.
Exactly, yeah.
Look at that, eh? The first piece of glass in position.
Brilliant.
For the entire church.
New lead strips are cut to the exact length as the old ones, and Phil's salvaging as much of the original glass as possible.
The medieval guys would have had a pot of urine, and they would have used their spit for cleaning as they went along.
Nice.
So do you want to have a spit on that, Josh?
I don't mind spitting. It's the urine bit I'm worried about.
Where the original glass is damaged, new pieces are cut to fit alongside the old. The lead frame is then soldered, and special putty is worked in to hold it all together.
Just get a bit more of an angle in there. Sweeping it in motion, yeah.
That's it. It's such a beautiful process, and you get the most amazing end result, don't you?
Yeah.
It's great to see these magnificent old windows revived by real craftsmanship. There's also some painstaking repair work of the stained glass on site, and I can't help but admire Mark's determination to not skimp on any of the detail of this restoration.
I think there's about 40 odd pieces in total.
Right.
But obviously we just want all these little textured glass areas.
Yeah.
Obviously just replacing.
He loves it. He thrives on it. He thrives on the challenge of being able to put it right, to put it back to its former glory and enhance the building. The chapel, I think, needs to have grandeur to it.
A building of this size is a challenge not only to restore, but also to furnish. Not for Mark. Over the years, he's amassed an enormous collection of furniture and objects, which he's determined will take pride of place in the chapel when it's finished.
It won't just be a home, it'll be a gallery for all of the things that we've collected over the years, to be able to showcase and let everybody else enjoy them at the same time.
So I'm keen to see all the stuff that you've got, mate, all your hoards.
Well, we've got a few bits of, how shall we say, taxidermy. I tell you what, you want to be careful, because these are still roaming around Harrogate.
How do you fancy living in a church?
Beautiful. They're going to go in the reception on the way in.
And what have you got up here?
Chinese opium bed.
Chinese opium bed, obviously.
Yeah. And I've got some old... They're blanks from some...
I have no idea. I have no idea what's going on.
These are some nice temple doors.
They're lovely, aren't they?
Yeah, beautiful.
Where are you going to put them?
In one of the rooms.
Here?
Yeah. It's kind of influenced me for this kind of Indian kind of room.
Where do you get all this stuff from? You just go shopping and just hoard?
Car boot, you name it.
Do you just buy stuff without knowing what you're going to do?
No, I love, anything old, texture, colour, form. Certain things I see and it kind of sinks in and I think I'm going to use them somewhere. They look great when they get it done. I told it it's a bit of Victorian meets kind of English eccentricity. I think that's what it warrants in here. I think it wants quirky.
He's always been a massive fan of art and always collected a lot. Well, I have spoken to my dad about, the plans and stuff, and he's kind of shown me relatively where everything is and, how it's going to look, and I know what he's like when it comes to design. He's a bit eccentric, he kind of goes all out. So, I don't have a say in the dining room and the lounge, but when it comes to my bedroom, he said that I can, do it my own way and stuff like that. It's really cool.
Although the chapel is certainly big enough to take an eclectic collection like Mark's, there's a real danger it could just end up looking like a junkyard. So, to give Mark and Laura some ideas about how they can make the most of their eccentric pieces, I'm taking them to see a truly one-off collection. Ainhoe Park is a Grade 1 listed country house in Oxfordshire, dating back to the 1600s.
It's a private house.
Wow,
It's a complete
that's
private
fantastic.
house. Current owner's done a huge amount of work on it since 2003, but the best thing is the collection of stuff inside. You're going to love this. Come and have a look at this.
Wow.
Just go off to the right there and that'll give you a feel about the eccentric stuff that's been collected over the years.
It's full, isn't it?
It is full.
Yeah.
It's kind of old, new, classical,
Yeah,
but eccentric
yeah.
and artistic all at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, and for some reason it just works. There's a danger when you collect a lot of stuff, as you know,
Yeah.
that it could look a bit,
Over the top.
well, either museum
Yeah,
or Steptoe and Son.
yeah.
You know, where you've just hoarded so much random stuff.
We're filling into that.
Well,
Are you going to Steptoe? Are you going to Steptoe then?
Taking its cue from the great collectors of centuries past, the rooms are themed. Plasterwork, sculptures, taxidermy, mixing old with new. It's all done in an exciting and playful way.
Come.
Oh, yeah.
Push open a door, and you never quite know what you're going to find.
Now that's my kind of loo.
And obviously really gone for it when it comes to kind of mounted antlers, the
Yeah.
fox head. You know, it's got a theme to it. And the whole language of the whole thing is all coming together. It's brilliant. Wait until you see the staircase.
Wow, wow, wow. That is bonkers.
That's just breathtaking, isn't it?
Incredible. Years and years and years of collecting. Like you.
The 17th and 18th centuries were the era of the great exotic collectors that began with the Wunderkammers or Wonder Chambers, rooms full of interesting artefacts intended to spark discussion and debate on matters of philosophy, science and art. And it's great to see that spirit alive and well at Ainhoe.
Some of it's quite subtle, and then you just get a massive rhino head in between the windows, which is just like bang.
Saving the very best till last, I want to show them my favourite room that mixes old and new to brilliant theatrical effect.
What the heck?
My God.
You don't see that every day, do you?
I knew about Giraffe land somewhere. It still hasn't landed
That
yet.
is fab.
Wow.
But look at that for his face as well.
That is just crazy.
And there's a theme to it. It's all architectural. Doric, Ionic, Corinthian columns.
Yeah.
Lovely bits of architraves, small bits of friezes, corner sink, plaster moulds. When you come to the supersized room,
Yeah.
you've got supersized pieces of art.
The toucan.
Even the toucan just standing there
Yeah.
on top. You know, it's
Yeah. It's really well done.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
It is.
I love this room.
There's so much here to inspire Mark and Laura. How they choose to display their own collection is yet another challenge on their restoration project. In Harrogate, it's taken Mark and Laura just 6 months to complete the restoration of their Methodist Sunday School. Remodelling this huge space was always going to be a challenge, but Mark plunged in with the confidence and enthusiasm that's made this an exciting build. Now I'm back to see whether they've realised their vision to turn this period Grade 2 listed building into a 21st century home.
This is beautiful, mate. Really lovely. Very smart indeed. Go inside and have a look?
As you can see, George, it's looking a little bit different.
Just a little bit.
Once a single space, measuring 3,500 square feet, Mark and Laura have transformed it into a 2-storey modern home, with a living area that makes the best of the double-height ceiling.
Honestly, that simple move of just pulling back that first floor, it's fantastic, mate.
For me, the whole height thing, the space that you've got in here now, the atrium, I think it's just fantastic.
The natural light is brilliant. That whole approach to getting the space to work with the windows is great. I love the way that when you've put this first floor in, you've just sculpted the ceiling back. Even looking back here now, you get little bits of colour coming through the coloured glass, just going onto the walls there. Let's have a look at the rest of it, because this looks so smart. is enormous. Really beautiful. What a great dining room. Oh, what a kitchen.
What's so striking about this bright and airy layout is how natural it all feels.
And you can actually stand here by the kitchen sink, turn back and look all the way through the entire building.
I'd like to say we planned it that way.
And the light coming through that skylight.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Now, the sun has come out.
He is looking down on you today.
Yeah.
Mark and Laura spent £240,000 on the conversion, creating a functional yet elegant living space with a mezzanine level to house the generous-sized bedrooms.
So this is the second bedroom.
Very smart room. Loads of storage.
Almost got a kind of walk-in wardrobe, to be honest with you. I mean you can, you know,
Yeah.
it's not a bad wardrobe, is it?
You're in
Yeah,
there, of
thanks.
course. You'd never get your work done though. What a master bedroom. Pretty impressive.
It's a lovely bedroom.
That is just fantastic. It really is. I mean, that is amazing. To be able to stand here and look right down.
There's worse views in the morning.
I'm so impressed with what Mark and Laura have achieved here. A graceful fusion of original features and contemporary design.
You can do restoration very well.
Thank you very much.
Very, very well. I think it's beautiful.
Mark and Laura are currently renting out the Sunday school, hoping to sell it for a whopping £700,000, which would give them a profit of 200 grand.
The whole reason why you've done this is to get some pennies in the bank to move on to next door.
Yeah.
Have you sold it yet?
Yeah, I've sold it.
Have you?
I've sold it, yeah, which is fantastic news, and it's going to allow us, obviously, to move on to next door, which is, I can't wait.
But have you got the figure that you need?
But at the moment, as we stand here now, it's just in a balance still, so...
But it's all good news, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've agreed the sale.
Yeah.
Hopefully it goes through.
Hopefully it goes through, touch wood.
4 or 5 weeks, the money drops in the bank.
Yeah.
And then it can carry on with the church.
Honestly, I cannot wait.
6 months later, and the sale of the Sunday school has finally gone through. With a profit of £175,000 plus a mortgage, Mark and Laura have a total of £350,000 to realise their dream home. It's full steam ahead with the restoration of the main church.
It looks great, it really does. You can kind of, you know, it really defines it now.
Mark and Laura's plans for this epic space are really taking shape.
But you've got the whole flooring upstairs. That's
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah.
What a change that is.
And with the major works now underway, I get the feeling Mark's all set to unleash his creative vision on the church interior.
Well, I've got some nice stone and some marble that's come a few miles. Nice set of double doors there for the middle bedroom overlooking the void.
You've been shopping, haven't you? You
Well,
really
yeah,
have.
absolutely. You've got to, haven't you?
Oh my word. Where did you get these from?
We had them sent over from France.
Did you?
Yeah.
You're not cutting any corners at all, are you?
I think the building deserves it. Can you imagine putting new radiators in here?
No.
That would be a crime against Victorian heritage.
Are you worried he's going to go out there and just buy lots and lots of stuff?
He already has. I mean, he's bought, what, like 2,000 glasses, wine glasses?
Why?
Showed me with like a rim of gold on
I
the...
don't know if it was 2,000.
I just was like, what are you doing?
I hope it's not
And it was
2,000
fine.
glasses. My main priority is to make sure that the rooms are a room and we have heating and lighting before we put any beds or any furnishings in it.
But Mark is thinking way ahead. He's itching to show me more unusual purchases he's made for his collection.
But let me just show you something. This is beautiful. Look at this piece here. Look at that big bad boy there. Look at that. What do you think, George? What do you think?
Are you showing me this, or have you bought it?
I bought it.
You've bought that?
Of course I have. Listen, we're going to have a few parties. Where else are you going to put the wine and the champagne? Come on. And I know exactly where it's going to sit.
Where?
On the right-hand side of the pulpit. Yeah, I love it. Yes.
Next up, the studio of an artist and bespoke furniture designer in Hertfordshire.
Hi, Mark. How you doing? My God.
Ta-da,
Look at
thanks.
that. That is amazing.
Well,
George.
how are you? Very nice to meet you. So he's commissioned this from you.
Yeah,
That
there we go.
is absolutely stunning, mate.
It's unbelievable.
Look at the scale of it.
Scale, that's what you use, yeah, that's what you need in a place like that. you know?
Yeah.
Where are you going to put it?
That's going to sit in the dining room.
way up there.
So what's it all made out of?
Steel and crystal, really.
My word. That is really, really beautiful, actually. It's definitely going to be a church of wonder and curiosity, isn't it?
The old curiosity shop.
The old curiosity shop.
You have this kind of vision of what the thing's going to turn out like, and it's, you know, you've just surpassed it, mate. It's just brilliant. It really is.
Just like the flamboyant collections at Ainhoe Park, Mark's choices are both stunning and playful. But does he share his vision with Laura and Maya?
Does he get into conversations about what each room's going to be like, and colours and furnishings?
Yes.
and-
Oh, yeah.
It's there all there.
It's there already.
It's at everything.
In his head, it's all done.
Yeah.
It's finished in his head.
Comes in here, it's the Indian room, Chinese room over there, he's got it all, all
It's
figured
sorted.
out.
I'm excited. I'm very excited. I know sometimes it's a bit hard when you're kind of worried about the problems and is everything going to be okay? Are we going to have enough money to finish it? But when you come and see it like this, and you know there's the guys on site, then no, it's fab.
What I'm excited about most, and the standout feature of this church restoration, are the windows I helped restore, coming back home to where they belong.
There's your stained glass windows. There's the man himself. Phil, how are you, mate? How are you? So good to see you, mate. You well? They look fantastic.
Yeah, I'm really pleased.
They should be over there. They are brilliant.
Inside and out, these windows capture the sheer quality of workmanship on this restoration.
Beautiful. Really beautiful.
Yeah, I'm pleased. You know, it's okay spending money, but it's nice seeing a great result. And they are, honestly. When they were putting them in yesterday and today, it's just been fantastic seeing the finish.
Really good.
It's a great job.
It's almost 2 years since Mark and Laura purchased their church buildings for £245,000. With the Sunday school complete and the church conversion steaming ahead, there's much to celebrate.
Congratulations. Well done for getting this far. I know there's still a long way to go.
Yeah, and I'm alive.
You are crazy and mad, but brilliant at the same time. Cheers.
I'd say that's a compliment, George.
It is a compliment. It is a compliment. You are fantastic.
Cheers.
Cheers. You know, I don't think there's any doubt that Mark and Laura are brilliant at restoration. What they've done with the Sunday school was fantastic.
Its successful conversion was achieved by sensitively incorporating its historic features into a bright and elegant contemporary design.
Whereas the church, which is 3, maybe even 4 times bigger, provides the most incredible space for Mark's very eccentric, sometimes crazy design ideas to be set free.
Thanks to Mark and Laura's unwillingness to compromise, both of these buildings will be preserved for years to come. To find out more about the build featured in this programme, or if you have a project for the next series, go to channel4.com/restorationman.
What has been the impact on one particular community? It's a polarising subject, immigration. Keeping Up with the Khans starts next Thursday at 9. But coming up, Dutch Courage with some more on the side. First dates.